Welcome back to the Chasing Tone podcast. Today, Blake Weiland joins me, and we talk about NAMM. I know you guys have probably heard so much about NAMM. The last thing you want to hear about is NAMM, right? But hear me out here. We're not just going to talk about some of the new stuff that's came out that you probably already know about. We're going to talk about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, including the Pedal Builders Party and some of the craziness that came out from it. And you know what? Let's just jump in right now.
And we're live. We're back at it again, chasing the tones.
So I finally, I get to see you like once a year. You know, hug you.
Right. Yep.
You know, give you a pat on the back, kiss on the cheek, that sort of thing. And I got to see you, but not for not as long as I wanted to.
I agree.
I did see you at the booth. I saw you at the party that Earthquaker and JHS and whoever else it is put on. Coming back from NAMM, to all the listeners, that's when we all get to see each other. Normally we talk on the phone a lot. I'll not only me and Blake, but Jamie from Earthquaker and Blake and Jamie and I and Josh and from JHS and Jamie. So basically,
everybody.
Even though we're all competitors, we're still friends. You know, we still talk and hang out like virtually a lot of times. So when it comes to NAMM, we get to actually hang out in person. So it's also fun. So anyways, we're at this party, and here comes Blake walking in, showing off his biceps. And I'm like, Blake, where have you been? I've missed you. You can tell my voice is still a little shot. Excuse me, so I may be coughing a little bit during this. I don't have the NAMM yet. Wow.
Don't die on me, please.
Yeah. I don't have the NAMM yet, but I do have the lost my voice thing.
Yeah, I think, I don't ever want to say that I've successfully avoided it until, like a week after.
Right, yeah. So, I'll let you know next month. Yeah.
Yeah. So far, I think I'm in the clear. Use the boutique hand sanitizer. I was doing good. And I noticed that D'Angelico was trying to outdo you.
I didn't see it. What'd they do?
They put it out in an even bigger bottle of sanitizer.
Did they brand it too?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, that's great. I wonder if I can find video on that.
I got a bottle I can take a picture of.
Oh, please do. Please send it to me. That's awesome. That's that's great. I love that. Wouldn't it be seriously? My thought is, wouldn't it be great if if everyone started making their own sanitizer every year?
It would be really handy. No pun intended.
The cleanest hands. We would eliminate this NAMM stuff in a hurry.
Yes.
So, speaking of the bowling alley that we had the party at.
I got a story.
You saw me.
I got a story for you.
I've got a bunch of stories, but only a few I can tell.
Right.
The cool thing I did a full-blown YouTube video with Andy, like an interview.
Yeah, I seen you over there doing that. I almost went over and harassed you, but I decided to be industry professional.
Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum came down and just started getting in the middle of it. He didn't know we were filming video, so I just turned the camera around to him, and he's like, "Oh, you're doing a video." That's okay, man. You're in it now. There's no going back. You're here for the next 30 minutes.
Nice. I should have dropped in then.
You should have.
I didn't see that. I was like, I'll let him have his Andy time.
Yeah,
because it was Andy's first NAMM.
It was, yeah. And he was. I talked to him the first day. Actually, went back up. So we're doing. Reverb did a builder panel, right? A Q&A with me, JHS, Earthquaker, Robert Keeley, and am I missing anybody?
I didn't see it, so I can't tell you.
I think it might be it. But anyways, if I'm missing you, I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry. So we go over to the Reverb booth to do this little builders panel thing that they filmed. It's already on YouTube, in case you're wondering. And I'm out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, is that? No way. What? That's Andy. He's a lot shorter than I thought he'd be.
Yeah, he's like my height, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, so we went over there, I'm like, you're Andy. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, man. I've it's like the same thing that I get when people come up to me, like, "I feel like I know you. I've been watching you for 10 years," you know?
Right, exactly.
So it was cool to, just hang out with him and ask him all the questions I've always wanted to know and, like all that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So we did that, and I'm like, "Andy, can we put this on video?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So so that's why we're doing the thing at the bowling alley, 'cause I was I was asking him questions that you wouldn't typically see.
Well, I don't watch a whole lot of YouTube, but I'll be definitely checking that one out, and
It
so
might make
I'm looking
for
forward to that.
it might make for a good side podcast. I don't know. I guess listeners, shoot me an email. Let me know what you think. The downside is it's a little noisy because the room we're in, but with the mic compressing, like so, whenever we're not talking, you'll hear the background noise, the kind of creep up a little bit
Hmm.
because the compression. But you can still hear it. You can still hear it pretty good. So it's not. I guess what I'm trying to say it's not as good a quality as this is right now. You know, but it's still fun to listen to. So I don't know. Maybe one week that we can't do something, maybe I'll throw it up there.
Yeah, we'll see how it happens. So he's came on my show back in the day,
Yes. Yep.
and he was like, "Oh yeah, we got to do time for an update," so things have changed so much. So
Oh, cool.
I was thinking the same thing, but it was nice to not have to bring it up.
No, yeah,
He
yeah,
was like, "Yeah," he
yeah,
was like, "Yeah, we should do an update." I was like, "Oh, good. That's what I was going to ask you." So
yeah, that'd be fantastic. Because the last the interview on the Tone Mob podcast was great. I loved it. I don't usually listen to gear podcasts all the way through, and that one I did. So
yeah, it was a really really good episode. I think and it kind of gave him. It's he doesn't. He sounds like Andy, but he doesn't talk.
it's different than like the
he
video,
he talks like a normal person. He doesn't
right?
talk like Andy in in the demos. Like, "Hi, I'm Andy." It's just like chill,
Right. He's like, "Hey guys,
So
how's it going?" Yeah, yeah, super super great guy. So it was for me that was cool, like actually meeting and hanging out with Andy Martin
hmm
from Pro Guitar Shop, now Reverb.
right. That
So
was cool.
yeah,
So my bowling alley story is a little bit different.
okay,
Me and I was there with my buddy Jess,
yeah, I saw
and
Jess Porter,
yeah,
right? Hung
yep.
out with him a bit. Nice, felt super nice feller.
Of course. My partner in tone crime, if that's a thing. I don't know. Uh, we were just hanging out, talking to everybody, and we're like, all right, time to go back to our treehouse. We were staying in a treehouse.
Oh, that's right. You guys were staying in a legitimate treehouse, like a Airbnb type thing, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. I've talked about that way more than I probably should have at this point, but it was super cool. Anyway, we go to get our Uber, and on the app it shows the car rolling up, and it shows like, okay, there's a car. Oh, it's like a Toyota Corolla or whatever, and it was the same kind of car, same, it matched the picture that I had in the app and everything, and it rolled right up to us. And so we opened the door, started getting in, and a guy come running out of the corner. "Hey, no, that's not your car. That's not your car." And I was like, oh, what?
Yeah,
This looks like my car.
yeah.
License plate was different. And then so that guy gets in the car. We hop out. We realize the error of our ways. That guy hops in the car, and then guess who gets in the car after him?
Who's that?
Yoshi from Boss.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we tried to steal Yoshi's Uber accidentally.
Oops. Oops. Sorry about that.
So for those who don't know, that would be the president of Boss Pedals. I
Right.
attempted to snipe his Uber out from under him. So that was like, I don't know if it would have been just like anybody else. I don't know if it would have been as funny to me, but the fact that it was him made me laugh really hard. So
I have not to change the subject from the bowling alley stories, but I had a Lyft fiasco that happened. You mentioned Uber, so
oh
we got a ride from the convention center. It's like a mile and a half away. It's a $10
yeah.
ride on Lyft, normally somewhere around there. So we get picked up. Guy drops us off like normal. I get out of the car, and I'm like, okay, this is where I tip the guy, right? This is where I like tip him and give him the 5 stars or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it just showed I was still in his car. Like
Oh,
it showed that I was still in the ride. It said ride in progress. I'm
mm-hmm.
like, well, that's weird. So I gave it about 5 minutes, and it still said this. So I called him because you can contact the driver. I'm like, it still the app still shows I'm in your car, and you've obviously dropped me off. How do we fix this? And he said, "Oh, sometimes there's some latency in the app. It'll fix itself shortly." 3 hours later, I was still in the
Oh
car
no.
apparently,
Oh no.
and
It's
I'm
just
freak
charging you the whole time.
and that's the thing. I'm watching the map, and the guy drives to like San Diego or something, and I'm like, "What in the world what is going on?" So of course, there's no phone number to call Lyft. You can't. There is no tech support phone number. By the way,
Right.
that's a great thing to do if you have a company. I'm using sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I email the company thinking, great, I'm going to have like $1,000 charge on my credit card for a Lyft ride.
Right.
And, explain to them, show them screenshots, all this stuff. And they did fix it. So kudos to them for fixing it within a day. They only charged me $10. But I don't know if the guy thought, I'm just going to drive around. I'm going to drive to San Diego and not end the ride now. I don't know what the deal was. But it was it was actually, up until that point, I was thinking Lyft is better than Uber.
I was gonna say that's what you get for going off brand, going with the store brand
Well,
car service.
I had heard someone. This is my first weekend with Lyft. I'm usually an Uber guy myself, and someone said, "Yeah, the Lyft is actually better. It's a little cheaper, and the cars are nicer." Okay, I'll give it. I'll give it a try. So everything was good up until that point.
Interesting. I'll have to try a Lyft. I've never tried it. I've only used Uber because it's worked like every time
It works every time.
perfectly.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the thing. It's the interface with Lyft is a little easier, a little less
Mm-hmm.
cumbersome. And not that Uber's complicated, but it is a little dumbed down. And like if my mom was going to get a ride, I would have her use Lyft just because you can't mess it up. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I give you a big C minus Lyft. Yeah,
C minus.
yeah.
Well, they passed, so that's all. That's
I mean,
all you and I cared about in
it's
high school.
passable. They fixed their problem, but to have a driver do that and not fix the problem immediately, and keep in mind, so as the night was going on, I was continuing to try to call him and text him to be like, "Dude, in the ride,"
Mm-hmm.
with no response. Wouldn't answer my call. Nothing.
It had to
So
have been some sort of glitch or something because like it knows where like your phone knows where you're at.
right.
You know, especially when you're using one of those apps, you would think that it would figure out that you're in a bowling alley and not in a car.
One would think so. One would think so. Yeah.
So
So fantastic stuff. Anyways, so
wonderful.
was that your last bowling alley builder party story?
Yeah, there was just nice conversations throughout the night, and I ate like 10 slices of pizza.
I
So
ate zero pizza and listened to tons of horrible karaoke.
I didn't want to get involved in that karaoke. I saw myself out.
No, the place was packed, and to get a beer took like 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We drank a beer, and then I talked to Andy, talked to Keely for a little bit, talked to Jamie. Just a few of the people, Josh and everybody. All the builders.
Yeah, of
And
course.
then we scooted out there.
Yep. Kind
So
of had a similar evening myself. We did get there a little quite a bit earlier than you because I was super hungry, and I want.
yeah,
someone
someone said the pizza was fantastic.
It was really good. I was like, I even just the regular old cheese pizza, I was like very surprised. I don't know where they got it from, if the bowling alley cooked it or where it came from, but I was like, wow, this is legit. So
Yeah. Actually, I do have a funny story. This was kind of embarrassing, and I'm going to go ahead and admit it, to the world on this podcast. So we started out thinking it was a different bowling alley, the place where it was last year.
mm-hmm.
And keep
Yeah,
in
we did
mind,
too.
I'm coming from the convention center, so I've got like camera gear and stuff that I'm holding. So we walk up to the bowling alley. It's this closed event. We walk up like, yeah, we're here for the party, and they said you can't get in. I said we were invited. We have an invitation to get in, and keep in mind I have this big, gigantic professional camera I'm holding, and I'm like, you got to let us in. I mean, this is our party. And they said this is a high school prom party, and I'm like,
You're like,
Oh.
huh?
And I'm like, how bad does this look that I'm begging this person to let me in with this big camera? Oh my gosh, I gotta go now.
Yeah, yeah. Keep in mind it's you and Jason, both
Yeah,
guys in your 40s,
right.
lugging
Yeah.
cam lugging camera gear. Like, no, we are supposed to be here.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. They're like, I'm like, oh, this isn't the Earthquaker party then. They're like, no, this is a high school prom party. And I
And
said,
they're like, we're gonna call the police now.
yeah, yeah, you guys need to leave now. So yeah, so I'm like, I am so sorry. I turned around and luckily there was a cab there. I'm like, just drive. Go.
Yeah, we did the same thing, but fortunately, like when we got there, like all the high schoolers were arriving, and so it was very obviously
Oh, got you. Yeah. There
like
was
like
nobody.
everyone was getting there when we walked up, and we're like, I don't think this is right. And
Jamie, the Earthquaker
I
invited.
was like, there's not a bunch of guys that look like us in there, is there? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure we're at the wrong place.
Lucky, I had to make a complete fool of myself.
It was pretty getting pretty like I was like, okay, that's not a pedal builder.
There, yeah, there is no way those people build pedals.
Hmm. In fact, I bet they spend a lot of time on Snapchat. So,
Exactly. So overall, with the NAMM show, was there anything cool that you saw? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
yeah, it was interesting this year because most everybody except for and I'm when I say that I'm just talking about the guys in our weird pedal world that I'm speaking of mostly. Most of those guys, with the exception of a couple guys, came up from the basement this year.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I heard some conflicting reports about the basement. I was told that everyone come up because they weren't going to allow amps down there this year. That's what I was told, and I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. But then when I went down there, like Angle was down there, like big, metal loud amps, and
Yeah.
like anybody that needed an amp had one, and they were playing it. So I obviously that wasn't the case. So I maybe more, but yeah, it was interesting that everybody in our niche, basically except for 2 or 3 companies, moved up
Yeah.
into
I was
Hall D.
gonna say I saw Strymon down there.
Yeah, it was like Strymon, Matthews Effects, Death by Audio, and I think that's it. There might have been 1 or 2 more.
Right.
But most of our guys, our industry was up top. So that was kind of an interesting change. I anticipate that a lot of guys said they were going to move back down. So we'll see how that works out. But
Yeah, I'm not a fan of. I mean, I like being downstairs, but I'm not a fan for business reasons of being downstairs.
yeah, I could see that. It seems like you wouldn't get as much. I don't know. Everybody I talked to down there said there's several bigger buyers wandering around downstairs specifically looking for that kind of stuff. So who knows?
Yeah, sometimes I mean sometimes there is, but there's I think it's kind of it's kind of an afterthought sometimes. Like especially with a buyer that's really busy, they tend to kind of hang out where their bigger brands are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you
Mm-hmm.
happen to be in that area, then they'll stop and talk to you, or you can stop them and talk to them. So excuse me. So I don't. Yeah, I mean downstairs was fun. We did it for a few years, but I really like upstairs better. I like being
Yeah.
around the action. Plus,
The
when
action.
my guitar heroes walk by, I can swoon over them easier. They don't. A lot of the guitar heroes don't run downstairs too often.
Yeah, I thought I heard you make a funny noise when I walked by.
That was a cat whistle.
Oh. So you don't know about this, I don't think, because you weren't there when I first went to your booth. You were doing some stuff. I think you were doing that pedal builders summit thing.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Well, so I walked up and Amanda was talking to somebody, and she said, "Oh, I'm already feeling it." Like I'm like, "Oh," she was like, "Oh man, it's gonna be a rough one," and I must have had a stupid look on my face or something, or I was smirking or something. Because before I even get to say anything, she said, "And you shut up." And I said, I didn't say anything. I must have had a really mischievous look on my face, like I was about to wisecrack or something, which I don't think I planned on it, but maybe I was mentally preparing to make a wisecrack remark. I don't know.
Well, I don't know how it was for anyone else. We were so busy. I mean, we are usually busy, but it was completely packed basically the entire time. Sunday was a little more casual, I think, for overall less traffic. But
Mm-hmm.
man, yeah, the first couple days, I lost a big part of my voice within a few hours just yelling over loud Friedman amplifiers. No, no, it wasn't that bad. Dave had his own room, so he can crank up his amps in there. But it was fairly loud
Mm-hmm.
overall. And luckily, they used to put like drums and like in the same section they'd have drums and cymbals and then guitar pedals and violins and like stupid stuff. They
Yeah.
they finally wised up after I don't know how many years and put like all the guitar things in one area, and then the next hall over they'd leave that hall to the drummers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I thought that
unfortunately,
was a good change.
that
That
was
was a
a
good
good
change.
change. Unfortunately, that's where the best Mexican was. So every day I had to go over and listen to someone beat the crap out of the cymbal, but multiple people beat the crap out of cymbals while I'm trying to eat my Mexican food.
I'm
So
sorry.
just a suggestion to NAMM if anyone happens to be listening, maybe put the Mexican food closer to the Wampler booth next year.
Well, if you would have just came to the pizza party, you wouldn't have had to worry about any of that.
I couldn't, man.
I know.
You and
We had
your
like we had like 50 people show up to that thing. It was amazing.
It would have been great, but you scheduled it right in the middle of the day.
It was just how the cookie crumbled. There was something going on every evening, and so that's kind of out of the question. And so it was like, well, I guess we'll do lunch then. So
Well, cool. I'm
um,
glad it went over very well then.
it was fun. That was definitely a highlight for me. I'm trying to think gear wise. See, this is the thing about the. I wanted to bring this up because you asked me if I see anything cool, and I went on a random tangent. I did see some cool stuff, but very few of the things that I personally was interested in, um, specifically pedal wise, um, I already knew about. Like not because I had, well, in some cases it was because I had inside information, but it was already announced before NAMM, and so it was
Right,
like
right.
I already knew it was there. I already knew I wanted to go play it. Um, it wasn't like oh, I had no idea this was a thing. Like I already knew about all that stuff.
Right.
Um, and I think anybody who really geeks out on that and follows these companies probably did too. So I wonder, like, some of the things some of the coolest things I seen were things that I knew about but hadn't got to experience in person yet.
Mhm.
And in one highlight for me in particular was actually something that I knew existed for a long time. I just never got to try it in person. Over at the Fryette/Sound City booth,
Right.
I was very surprised to how good their power station is. Are you familiar with that unit?
Yes, I am. That's fantastic.
I couldn't believe it. He
Yeah.
cranked up this 100-watt Sound City and ran it into that thing, and it was like we were just talking over it, and it sounded amazing.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. In fact,
Um,
when I did actually when Travis and Max were here for the two past episodes, it was one night, but it was two past episodes.
right.
Um, and he has one, so he brought one over. We ran some of the synergy units into it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just magic. Complete, like those two combined together is complete magic.
Yeah.
So I don't
It,
know.
if anybody's looking for a power amp/attenuator, I can't think of anything that's better than that. I was
You,
just like blown away. I mean, Evan, one of their rep guys, has come on my show and he was talking it up. I'm like, yeah, it sounds pretty cool, but no, seriously, it's I was like, well, why is this not talked about everywhere for this purpose? I hear a lot attenuators. I've tried a bunch of them, and they would do what they're supposed to do, but it ends up sounding kind of anemic most of the time.
you can,
Um,
yeah,
not all the time, but quite often. And this was just like full and rich and had all the everything you want, and it was like, oh, we can talk over it.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's a great idea. So check that out.
yep.
Yep. I gave some crap to Josh from JHS about
Uh huh.
his 9 tube screamers and one pedal.
Yeah.
I told him I was
The
going to outdo
the
him this year.
bonsai.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
bonsai. I told him I was going to
Mhm.
outdo him and release one that has 10 settings.
Ooh.
And so then he said he's going to do 11 settings. I was like, oh, well, I can't do 12.
It's impossible. Can't do
It's
12.
impossible. No, but that's
Yeah.
a cool idea.
It was a cool idea. I liked it. I'm not like a traditional tube screamer. Like it's not my sound, but for those that it is, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So,
Yeah, yeah, it does. I hadn't never did really get a chance to play it, but it seemed like a cool idea.
mm-hmm.
I really didn't get a chance to get away from the booth to see that much gear. So people were asking me like, "What trends are you seeing here at the show?" And all I really saw at the show was my booth and a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, I'm noticing a downtrend in mullets this year. I did notice that.
Really?
Not as many mullets as I was accustomed to seeing. A lot more brightly colored hair and a lot less mullets. It was interesting. If
Huh.
you know, if you want to know about the trends I noticed.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Doesn't know
You know,
nothing to do with anything,
one
but
thing
whatever.
that did stand out to me, and this was kind of odd, and I mean, it's completely flattering. Don't get me wrong, but I probably got stopped as many times from people saying that they watch the YouTube channel or listen to the podcast as I did that people said they like our pedals. In fact,
Yeah.
there were some people that would just walk by and say, "Oh, I watch you on YouTube. I love your stuff," and then they'd keep going or whatever. I was like, "But what about our pedals?"
Like, hey, you know about those, right? That's a thing that we do all the
No,
time.
it's super flattering, to put because I know there's people that listen to this, but the only time I really get to see them is whenever we do a show somewhere and they come up to me and say, "Hey, I listened to the podcast," you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's I always just love actually meeting you, the listeners. So don't hesitate to come up next time. You know,
Yeah, same here. That's why I
maybe
was like,
maybe bring a ham sandwich with you or something, you
yeah,
know?
go get him his Mexican that he's craving. That's why. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I guess maybe it shouldn't be surprising, but it's kind of surprising and like you say, very flattering. Like I said with the pizza thing, like there's 50 people here. Like what? Like like it's just I mean I know that like obviously people listen or we wouldn't be doing it,
Right.
but it's just kind of amazing to shake everybody's hand and while we're all and like my wife she was there last year when we did the pizza thing
Right.
and I was just like, look, see, I'm not the only one. We're all we're all this way.
I am not just talking to myself.
so it's kind of it's humbling that people care enough to to do that. I mean, that's really really amazing. So
Yep.
um trying to think, did you see, I'm trying to think of like get back to the gear for a little bit. Like I said, nothing really was shocking.
Yeah, yeah. From what I can tell, it doesn't. I mean, it seems like just another year of more gear, and I know that sounds bad, but I'm always so when I go to shows, I'm always trying to see. I'm trying to figure out like where things are going. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and you can kind of tell that by what products are putting out and how people are responding to those products.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like not to knock anybody, it just I guess I'm waiting for the time whenever for me personally, whenever high-end DSP gets cheap enough that we can make a fractal type unit for $200 or whatever, you know?
Right.
So so I'm actually I actually go to a lot of manufacturers of parts there because there's a lot of different suppliers of resistors and capacitors and pots and chips and blah 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 blah. So I'll go to them and ask them about what's coming out, what's the new stuff? Do you have anything that will, do you have an ARM chip or, a Shark type chip that is cheaper but still does good? You know what I mean? A
Yeah.
little more on the tech side, I guess. And I don't know, nothing really blew me off my feet, unfortunately. I wish it did. Last year we did find a chip called Dream that
Mm-hmm.
I thought was pretty fantastic. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like there's a lot of guys that use the spin chips, and I'm sure the builders that are listening to this will get this will probably be more valuable to them than like the guy playing at church on Sunday. But still, hang with me for a minute.
Yeah.
Um, so spin chips are what a lot of people have done different effects, whether it's reverb or delay or chorus or all different types of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved to, well, we've made several different moves. One of them is to a Dream platform, which allows us to do a lot more complicated type of things. So, like with a spin chip, you're limited by how much RAM and just some different parameters to build a good effect. And the Dream is a cool one. So if you're a builder, check into that. You should like
There
that.
you go. Then that wasn't new. That was last year, right?
That was
Because I
last
remember
year.
hearing about. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
last year.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Prior to. So.
Yep. And
Um,
then I got the biggest shock of my life, not electric shock, but physical shock, with a huge announcement right smack dab at the beginning of NAMM.
which one was that?
Casey Neistat quit Beam.
He quit what?
Beam, his company's technology company.
Really?
Yep.
That
Yep.
has nothing to do with NAMM, but
That has
okay.
nothing to do with NAMM, but it threw me for a complete loop. I was saddened, and I was under some grief. I had some grief at the beginning of NAMM because of that. I'm like, my man, what?
Well, why does it matter to you so much? Is he's still going to do his thing, right? That you like?
Yeah, he is. He's still going to do his thing. I just, I had high hopes for Beam from. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Beam is like it is a company that Casey Neistat created. I think he sold it to CNN, but still was a part of it. And their whole idea was to like bring news to a younger audience. So, rather than it being tailored more towards the 40 or 50 or 60-year-old person, more tailored towards what I guess people would call quote unquote millennials. So some of the stuff was
those
really
millennials.
good.
You can't trust them.
I know. But so anyways, yeah, it's kind of a little disappointing. It has nothing to do with gear, but I just want to let you know what's on my heart,
Okay. Well, we can get into that later. I don't. I don't
next
know.
podcast.
I don't know anything about it, so I can't.
Next
I can't
podcast
comment.
we'll do a complete analysis of the Beam portfolio if you want.
I'm sure that our listeners will be just riveted by such things.
And I
think we can get away with food talk, but I think we start going into that, we're gonna start losing some people pretty quick.
I know. So I gotta check out these D'Angelico sanitizers, because we had the little bitty ones. I don't know whether maybe 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches tall. If they're outdoing us, we gotta up our game. We might have to come out.
They had like I think a 1.5 ounce bottle, and
man.
I only know that because I had to see if I could get it through the airport or not. And then it had a little loop on it, so you could like clip it on like a carabiner or something.
Oh, they spanked our butts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're 0.5 ounces. 0.5 ounces, little bitty cute little bottles, but no loopy thing to connect your keychain.
Yeah.
Time to up the game. So that's gonna be the next product for next NAMM is 2 ounce Wampler boutique custom hand sanitizers. Probably with some wipes. I should probably come out with some Wampler sanitizer wipes.
There you go.
Maybe,
because it's not just your hands.
Right.
You might need to wipe that phone off.
Yes, exactly. Wipe the phone off. Wipe off the grime from the guitar from the previous night's sweating. That sort of thing. So there's still other areas we're going in here. We're going to permeate these markets outside of guitar pedals, starting with hand sanitizer.
Eventually moving on to a news platform for kids.
Exactly.
All right. I like it. I do.
You want to wrap up this episode about our partial NAMM discussion?
Yeah, our somewhat NAMM related discussion. I just wanted to, I guess I should say I didn't make it sound very good. Like, it was good, and there was some good stuff that dropped, and you guys probably already know about it, but like one thing I was really excited about was obviously I have a little bit of bias for how excited I was about the Chase Bliss Thermae. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
I didn't see it. No.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't even get a chance to see Joel. Really, I meant to, but
that should be the biggest letdown of NAMM.
I know, man.
That guy is such a treat.
I love him. He's such a cool guy.
But so I don't know if I've talked about it in my group and stuff, but I don't know if I've told you. So when Joel came on Tone Mob in 2016, I think he, we talked about his company and we talked about his stuff and what he was up to. And he's like, I had an idea today that I'm going to try to make into a product. And I'm like, oh, tell me what that is. And he's like, no. And he's like, I don't even know if it's going to be possible or not, first of all. And so that product ended up being the Therme. So I've been harassing him every time he would tease a new pedal. I would see it and I would message him like, is this it? Is this the one? And he's like, no, it's not it. And then and so this one he teased just before NAMM and ended up, the Therme is the pedal that he come up with the day that we recorded. He thought of the idea. And so it's like if you didn't see it, it's like an analog delay / octave effect. That doesn't really do it justice, but you'll have to go
like an octave on the echoes or an octave over everything.
Just go watch the videos.
Spell it for me so I can check it out.
THERMAE.
Okay, got it.
It's a weird one.
I'll check it out. I happen
it.
to have YouTube pulled up right now, so after we get off here, I will type that into the search bar mechanism and look at that.
Yep. So that was a highlight. Speaking of octaves, Fuzzrocious debuted an octave that they called it the octave John, which I guess is some sort of East Coast slang that I've never heard about. Like John is JAWN.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
But it's like it's not just a pedal really. It's like something you can add into their custom builds, which I'll have to ask him a little bit more information about it because his voice was gone when I was trying to talk to him. So
understandably.
But there was a bunch of stuff, man. That was not it. But we've already been talking for 30 minutes, and I'm guessing anybody that really cares about NAMM releases has already seen whatever it is I thought was interesting. So,
well, to all the listeners, stay tuned for next week whenever we talk about PewDiePie.
No, I don't want to talk about him.
All right. Well, maybe next week we could talk about some more gear.
Okay. All right. Later.
See ya. And thanks so much for listening to the Chasing Tone podcast. Really appreciate all of you who listen. If you have any comments or questions, you can just simply email podcast@wamplerpedals.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next week.